All right. Because you guys are all mostly RapidTag users, we'll go through just the major functional changes. At the end of that, if you want to see more, just let me know. I'll open the floor for questions and everything. And if you want to see more within RapidTag, we can go over that as well too. But all right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's just a quick look at our agenda for today. So what I want to start out with is to review the launch and training schedule. Since I know most of you have just received this information last week, so I just want to make sure that we've got dates and everything correct. If those, team members, others from your organization were not able to join today, there is another training, so I want to go over that. We'll also go over the upgrade request process. And this is really more for how to request for the version 5 update. And then we'll take a look at how to access version 5 as well as talk about licensing. And then we'll go over the major functional changes. And there's basically the 3 areas in which we're going to cover, and that's going to be the initial setup changes. We'll talk a little bit about the new Jarvis license reader, and as well as take a look at the expanded personnel fields, as well as, of course, the big ticket item, which is TwoWay Sync. So we'll take a look at how that functions within our other solutions. And that's where we'll go through with the RapidTag walkthrough. All right, so our release schedule, obviously today is our launch date, Tuesday, April 2nd. With today is our first training, and then we'll have another training for today to cover the same material on Thursday, April 4th. So with this release and this update, RapidTag version 5, I do want to talk about licensing. So licensing is managed entirely through Salamander Live. So like Salamander Live and our mobile apps, the RapidTag product has to be assigned to your Salamander Live account. So regardless if you have Salamander Live or not. And this is because RapidTag, with the TwoWay Sync, it automatically is going to point over to Salamander Live. There's a login process, and so this all has to be managed on the back end. So because of this, we put together an upgrade request process. Now, I do want to note, it's an important note, if you are a Midwest card customer, you can disregard this entire upgrade request process. And this is because Midwest Card will be reaching out to all their clients to facilitate the upgrade. So again, if you are a Midwest Card customer, disregard this entire process. So this step from 1 through 6. All right, so here's the process. If you are not a Midwest Card customer, basically what you would want to do is go to www.salamanderlive.com, and you want to click login. And then on that page, you'll want to click on Login Salamander Live version 2. And we're going to go through this process. I'm going to pull up Salamander Live so you can follow along and see exactly what I'm talking about. So on that login page, if you have a Salamander Live account, you want to log in with your credentials. And then what you want to do is click Help from the left menu bar. And then from Help, there's some drop downs, or not a drop down, but there's some options, and you want to click on Email Support. Now, when you fill it out from Salamander Live, it's going to pull some of your information from your user profile to fill out the form. In the form itself, you want to put that you're looking to request the upgrade for RapidTag version 5, and then click Submit. Now, if you don't have a Salamander Live account, you'll just want to click on the support. Click on Support. There's a little link on there, and then fill out the form and click Submit. So I'm going to pull that up real quick for you so you can see how that looks like. So here it is. Go to salamanderlive.com. Click Login. This is going to give you the option for version 1 or version 2 for Salamander Live. Please note the RapidTag has to be assigned on version 2. It's not available in version 1. And again, we are ending version 1 support as of July 31st. So you've got a couple more months. So to request, just click on Login for version 2. So if you are not a current Salamander Live user, meaning you don't have a Salamander Live account and all you have is RapidTag, what you want to do is click on the support link down here. And then you can email and send your request over to Salamander Live. So fill in all the required information, first name, last name, your organization, state code, and then your subject line, just put upgrade to version 5 and quick description, and then submit. If you are a Salamander Live user, you log into your account. And then down here on your left panel, you see this help. Just click on email support, and you'll see that it's the same email that you saw from that support link on the login page, except the difference is that because you have a user profile, it's going to pull in some of your information in here. So all you need to do is fill in the information it did not pull, such as your phone number, of course the subject line and description. Again, just put in there that you're looking to request the upgrade and then click submit. What's going to happen is that all that information is going to be sent over to Salamander, and then you'll also get a receipt as well. So whoever does the requesting is going to get a receipt. Salamander is going to process that request, and it's going to send you, the user, letting them know that you have been upgraded and how to access the upgraded version. So there will be some step-by-step on how to get version 5, which we're going to cover on the next slide. All right. So how to access version 5. So once RapidTag is added to your account, there's one thing that you need to do. And this is because of the licensing process. So as you know, when you install RapidTag today, so any prior versions to version 5, basically what you would do is you would go to the website, or if you had the CD, you would install that onto your computer, and that would be loaded onto your computer. So anybody would be able to access RapidTag, right? Because it's PC based. Well, the difference to this is that your RapidTag is now tied to one user. So if you've purchased one RapidTag, you are allowed to assign that to one person. If you have two RapidTag, that you purchased two RapidTags, you would basically assign that to two individuals. So that's that licensing process. So in this case, what you would need to do as the administrator, so this is the administrator's task, is they have to log in to Salamander Live and assign that RapidTag to their users. So that's the first step. So that's going to be under your profile. So when you log in, and this you want to do within version 2 of Salamander Live, log in, go to the security users, click on the users that you want to give access to. In there, under product, you should see a product for RapidTag. Just go ahead and click the check mark under RapidTag, and then of course at the bottom there you've got the role and the organization, and that's where you would go and assign their role for RapidTag and what organization they'll have access to for RapidTag. Now, if they already have Salamander Live and any of the track apps, you don't need to assign any additional roles or organizations. It's basically going to use that. So let's say they have Salamander Live and they're set up as an administrator. If you put RapidTag under that, they're going to have administrative access for RapidTag, which basically means that they'll be able to log in. Same thing if they have the track app. They'll have, more than likely, they'll have the track app, the app, mobile app user role and tied to that organization, and that would be sufficient enough for that RapidTag user to log in and manage incidents. So you'll want to do that first. Once you do that, and you've got the user assigned, what that user is going to do is that they're going to need to uninstall the previous version of RapidTag. So you'll want to go onto your computer that you currently have RapidTag installed on. You want to uninstall that, so any prior versions, and then you're going to go to salamanderlive.com. hover your mouse cursor under Resources and click Download Software. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click Install Rapid. Now on here, you do not need a license key. The license key was for the PC base, so any of the prior ones. So all you need now is your logins. So you're going to click Install Rapid, follow all the steps to install that onto your computer. We do also have an install guide if you need that has the same steps on there, as well as some additional details as well too, such as, you know, right here it talks about the requirements in order to install Rapid. So due to Microsoft end of support with Windows 7, you do have to have Windows 10 or later in order to install and utilize Rapid version 5. So that's going to have those important steps in there as well too. Once you have Rapid installed, you're just basically going to log in using your credentials. So the credentials right here that you're administrator, or if you are the user and you are also the administrator, your logins. Now your logins are the same as what you use to log in to Salamander Live if you have access, as well as mobile apps if you have access. So let me just go ahead and pull that up. So on here, just basically click on here, Security Users. Let's go to let's see here. So here it is. Go to your login and then just click on Rapid. And then just add in your role down here, depending on what you've already given this person. For access to the software itself, go to Resources. So again, this is the salamanderlive.com website. Resources, download software. And then right here is Install Rapid. So this again is version 5. So again, you'll see here software version 5. And then this is the install guide that goes with this as well too. So, you know, if you're having your IT department do this install, make sure they review this guide first to make sure they know all the configurations and install requirements before they do the install. Now, any questions so far on what we've covered? No questions? All right. So Rapid licensing. So do want to talk more about this here. So once the user logs into Rapid, the user is tied to that computer. So I talked about how different version 5 is, that it's not basically just going to be installed on your computer, and then anybody who has access to that computer can use Rapid. Now, because of the TwoWay Sync that we've added to this version, it's tied to a user. So unlike the apps, the user cannot switch, unlike the PC version, the user cannot switch computers by logging in on a different computer. So in order to change computers, let's say this user, for some reason this computer is broken, out of service, they need to switch computers. What they need to do is they need to contact Salamander to remove that link between the user and computer, which will then allow that user to log in onto a different computer. So, for example, if you log out on your computer, then log in with a different user on that same computer, what you're essentially doing is you're tying both those users to that one computer, which is fine if that's the case. If you've got, two Rapid licenses and you've only got one computer, you can do that. But most likely when you're working with Rapid, you're looking at having 2 Rapid stations. You would have 2 different users, and one user would be on one computer and the other user would be tied to the other computer. Now, I do want to also talk about comms out. So after initial login for Rapid, Rapid can be used comms out. So what you have to do is you just have to log into Rapid one time while online to use Rapid comms out. However, I do want to make an important note. So I do want to note that you cannot log into Rapid. So let's say Rapid Station 1. go offline, and then try to log into RapidTag station number 2 to get around licensing. So if you try to do this, what's going to happen is all the scans from RapidTag station 1 is going to be invalid. And that's because you have a second sign-in on RapidTag station 2. So again, we do have some security pieces around the licensing process. Again, if you need to switch computer, your easiest bet is to contact us, and we will help you sort that and get that situated. So any questions on the licensing process? All right, no questions? Perfect. Well, we're going to go straight into RapidTag. So I'm going to show you guys how to log in, and then we'll take a look at the major functional changes within RapidTag version 5, and then we'll do some demoing, and I'll show you guys how the two-way sync is going to work. Just get it out of here. All right, so once you log in, or I'm sorry, once you install RapidTag, first thing you're going to notice is that the icon has changed. So your current icon, that's how you'll know that you have the most updated version. So as you know, I'm just going to pull up the RapidTag evac one. So this is how the RapidTag one looked like before. It had blue. I know the icon's a little bit different, but it was blue like this. So this here is the new branded version for RapidTag. So all you need to do once you have it installed is double click on it, and what's going to happen is the login screen is going to appear. So this login page is basically your activation. So this is you logging in with the username and password that you were provided from your administrator. Now, once you log in on this login page, you've activated your user, and what you're also doing is now you're tying your username and password to this computer. So let's go ahead and log in. Just click sign in. And then it's going to log you in directly into RapidTag. So you'll notice that the main screen of this doesn't look too different. I mean, there are some differences on here. First thing you'll notice at the top is a welcome. So this right here is going to say welcome, and then the user name. So whoever logged in, it's going to show their username at the top here. What you'll also notice is that there is no more actions menu as well as reports menu. So the reporting for RapidTag was removed from this version. Since it syncs directly to Salamander Live, all your reports can be viewable through Salamander Live. And as we know, Salamander Live has a bunch more reports available than what was available within the RapidTag software. So everything that you were viewing before within RapidTag for reports, you can view all those within Salamander Live. Another thing you'll notice is the actions button. Instead of saying send, it now says sync. And again, this is for that two-way syncing of information to and from Salamander Live. So the first thing I want to talk about is the initial setup changes. So on here, as we know, under File, Options, this is where you would go in and set up your syncing, your scanners, your printing, your assignments, and everything. And this is something you normally would do before you start an event. But we did make some changes on here onto this. First thing you'll notice is that it now says sync versus server. And on here, under sync, all you see on here is the auto sync content to server, and an additional option called hide phone mask. You don't have the option anymore to manually sync to Salamander Live or Command. And the reason is because once you log in, it automatically points your data to Salamander Live. Now, if you currently use Command, you don't have the ability to directly link your RapidTag to Command. However, you can still go to Salamander Live and join those events together. So you would join your RapidTag and your Command events together within Salamander Live, so that data is now syncing back between your RapidTag, Salamander Live, and Command. So that entire process has just been removed from Rapid. Now on here for the auto sync, this is similar to what you were doing before, except before you were auto sending. So you have your intervals that you can choose from. You can turn this off. And if you do this, you have to manually now click the sync button each time you want data to sync. Either that, you can choose from 1 to 5 minute intervals. So I just left this at 1 minute intervals and a 1 minute interval for syncing. So also available is this hide phone mask option. So with this here, what this does is it basically, if you select this checkbox, what it's going to do, it's going to take off the mask or the formatting of the phone number within the Rapid form fields. And this is because phone numbers are formatted slightly different outside of the US. And if you're operating Rapid outside the US, you'll want to go ahead and checkmark this so that it removes that format of like the 3-digit area code, the 3-digit number, and then the 4-digit number. International numbers are formatted a little bit differently. So that's why this option is here. Next on here is scanners. So the scanning process for this is the same as it is today for setup. So if you were setting up a serial scanner, you'd go in here and set up your serial scanner. If you were setting up a USB scanner, process exactly the same. Same thing for smart card. The only difference on here is that you have the option to turn off the collection of personally identifiable information. And this is when a Jarvis license is scanned. So with this setting checked, what's going to happen is that when you scan a Jarvis license, it's only going to capture that person's first and last name. So even if there is, a driver's license number and state and birth date that is embedded or encoded into that driver's license, it's only going to collect their first and last name. If you want all the information to be collected, you want to make sure that this is not checked. Any questions so far on sync or scanners? All right, moving on. Next one is printing. So under printing, everything is exactly the same. Nothing has really changed on here. You still have, to set up your company or your collection or your responders and equipment, choose your printer, select your design, your copies, and whether you want it to be a manual print or a auto print. The only thing that I, saw as a change, that our development change, was the naming convention for the tags themselves. So under the design, you'll notice that it's now 2x3 and 3x5 rapid tag versus incident ID. So that's the only difference between, the prior versions and version 5. But again, it's the same ID. So if you go into the default design documents that we have that, lists out and gives you examples for all of our designs, you'll be able to see that it's the exact same design as the incident ID. Now you'll notice that there's actually 2 different tabs that are missing on here. First one is the organization, and next one is time. The organization one, we remove that because of your login. Once you log in, it's going to it's been pre-configured to know that your organization is whatever is tied to your user login. So that's going to be your primary organization. So for example, for Salamander Training 2, my primary organization is Salamander Live, or it's actually Sal Live Training. So that's what this incident or this instance of RapidTag is going to point to, is that organization. So whatever your organization you have on your user profile, that's what it's going to point to, which is why you do not need to fill out the organization tab anymore. Same thing with the time tab. We removed that, as you know. That wasn't used anyways. That was disregarded in prior versions because it was tied to our legacy softwares, and no one was actually going in there and setting up that information anyway. So that was removed from the options setup. Last but not least is the assignment. So under the assignment, same thing. The setup for checked-in assignment is the same. You have the option to leave it as checked in. So the checked in assignment, as you know, when you first log in, is going to be set to checked in. That's the default. Of course, if your organization chooses to use a different checked-in assignment, you can change that. Like for example, I put in here on scene. Again, if you want to put this as staging, you can do that as well. So that part of the assignment tab is exactly the same. The difference is now this option right here to enable checkout. So if you remember from the current the prior versions, once you click checkout, what this does is allows you to scan a ID for a second time, and it automatically puts them into this checked out assignment. And you were able to customize this checked out assignment. By default, it was checked out, and you have the option to change that to off scene. Well, as you know, being Salamander customers and using Rapid and Salamander products, that the off scene assignment is the only one that will stop the clock. Checked out does not stop the clock. And so what we've done on here is that once you click this checkbox, it automatically will put the off scene assignment, or I'm sorry, the checked out assignment as off scene. And you are not able to change this. Again, this was done to eliminate the problem of when you're trying to move someone to the off-scene assignment. If this was checked out, that they are completely checked out and it stops the clock. So that is the major changes to the setup piece. Just click apply, click save, and then close. Any questions? Questions? All right. Now, one thing before we go into Rapid Tag here and start an incident, I do want to talk a little bit about the new driver's license reader. So let me pull this up real quick here. So with version 5, we do have a new driver's license reader. This has been updated to support the latest versions of state IDs. So with this version, it supports all 50 states. It supports Guatemala driver's licenses, Guatemala national IDs, Mexican Matricula, South Africa, Australia, Nigeria, U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Panama military IDs, green cards, Canadian health cards, U.S. gun permits, and vehicle registrations. So we've expanded this. As you know from the prior versions, you weren't able to scan a lot of these different items. There was issues or errors. So now you're able to do all this. Now, as you start working in Rapid Tag and you do run into issues with scanning, please let us know. Send us a email at support@salamanderlive.com. We've tested all these, but again, they should all work. But as we know, with any sort of release or launch, there could be bugs. Not that I'm saying that there are going to be bugs, but there are usually, there tends to be some errors that do happen with new releases, and those are easily fixable. So just let us know if you run into any issues with scanning any type of IDs. All right. So now that we've gone over the new driver's license reader, let's go ahead and start an event. So one of the things you'll notice on here is that you are required to put in a event name. So the prior versions before, it automatically put in a default name on here for the event. It says something like Rapid Tag and then date. But for this one here, you do have to enter in a name. So on here, I'm just going to put again, the run number on here, you can leave that. That's going to be auto completed for you, but if you want to put something else in there, you definitely can. Once you enter in a event name, just click start. And this is going to allow you to now start adding in personnel, equipment, collections, and organizations. So the major changes with version 5 are going to be within this personnel tab. All these other tabs right here, equipment, collections, organization, nothing has changed. All those the equipment form, the collection forms, the organization forms, all that is exactly the same. So let me just show you this real quick here. I'm going to scan in a Salamander ID. so I can show you all the changes. So first things first, you'll notice that we've expanded the personnel form. Now it includes a full driver's license number, country, state. You also have the full address that you can fill out on here. Down here you've got the assignments. We'll talk about this once we start adding more people. And then you also have a rate field. So this rate field has been added so that basically what you can do now is start calculating rates for all of your volunteers within Salamander Live. The rate entered here is going to be used within the burn down tile that you have within Salamander Live on the events dashboard. It's also going to be used to be calculated within the personnel activity reports. And that's going to be with the CSV version, the Excel version, and the PDF version. Now, I do want to make an important note on using this rate field. Now, the rate field is going to override any standard rates on the personnel records and the account default rates if one is available. So for example, this was a Salamander ID badge that we scanned in. So let's say on here, George Smith. If George Smith on his Salamander Live personnel account already has a rate of $35, and I put in here $30, and I finish this and save this, what's going to happen is this rate of $30 is going to override that $35 that's on his personnel account or personnel record. So best advice on here is if they are a Salamander Live, if they have a Salamander Live tag and you know that they have a rate for that organization, they put rates for that organization, is to not enter anything in here. Questions on this?
Right. Yeah, hey Leah, it's Chief Garrison out at Joint Base Lewis McCord. So just so I'm clear, when you fill in, if I have a default rate in Salamander Live, that's an automatic, right? And I don't override any, it still applies until I type something in that rate field, correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. That's a great question. So yes, if you scan this person in and they already have a rate, once this syncs up to Salamander Live, they are going to use that rate on that George Smith's personnel record to calculate their cost. The only time they'll override that is if you enter a rate right here, which again, you don't want to do if you know that person has a rate on their record.
Yeah, but Leah, I have a default rate for people who don't have a rate in Salamander Live. I've got like whatever it is, $30 an hour. Is that automatically transferred down to people I'm just scanning in via driver's license, or do I have to put that in?
You do have to put that in for those that are not a part of your database. So that account default rate only goes for everybody that's a part of your Salamander Live database. So if you're scanning in driver's license of people that are not part of your Salamander Live database, it's not going to use a rate at all unless you put a rate right here.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. You've got the same expires, drivers, role, or I'm sorry, title, role, and location. So that's all the same. Next thing you'll notice on here is the qualifications. So in the prior versions of Rapid Tag, if you recall, there was a section down here where you can add in qualifications and then assign it to the person. You don't have that option anymore. You don't even have the option to create a qualifications database. So that was removed completely. However, the qualifications section will appear if you scan a ID badge that has qualifications embedded into that ID. So for example, any of the Salamander ID badges, if you scan those in, more than likely the organization has entered in some sort of qualifications for that person, and those qualifications will appear here in this section. And this is going to just list the qualification code. Now this section is not editable, so you can't go in there and change this on the fly. Now if you're scanning in driver's licenses, of course there's not going to be any qualifications on those driver's licenses. So this is typically pulling for those individuals. Or if you do a manual add, so you go down here and you manually add a person in, it's not going to show this qualification section. Last but not least is the picture right here. So if you recall, it was on the right side, small down here. So what we've done is we've doubled the size on that, so it's actually a lot bigger. The setup for that is exactly the same. You'll want to right click, and then you can basically upload a picture if you have that person's picture on there, or if your computer is set up to, with an internal camera or external camera, you can still take their picture by capturing source. And this, again, depending on the design that you choose, will print off on that tag or that ID. Then down at the bottom on here, you still have that print when finished option. So in my options, I put manual print. This is why mine is not checked. This person has a salamander ID tag, so I'm not going to print them a tag. So all I'm going to do is click finish. And now this person has been added to the on-scene assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and scan a couple more people. I'm going to manually add a person. So again, the required information, organization, ID number, first name, last name. Again, ID number is still auto-generated. For organizations, you can click the new button on here to add an organization. Same requirements as before. Also on here is a listing of all organizations. So the great thing, I do want to talk about this, is with TwoWay Sync. If you have multiple rapid take stations and they're scanning in people, let's say they're scanning in Jarvis, or I'm sorry, they're scanning in Salamander ID tags, and those organizations from those tags will also be available for you listed here as well. So that's a great thing about TwoWay Sync, is that any organizations they scan in over there will be available on your computer to select from. And then also any new organizations that they add, that they tie to a Jarvis license or any other ID like credit card or something like that, that will also be available on your list. So it's only going to be available on your list as long as they click finish. So they create that new organization, add it to this person, and then they click finish. That new organization is not going to be available in your list. And that's going to be available with every linked rapid tag user. All right. So now that we've got a couple people on here, let's go ahead and add some equipment as well too. I'll just scan in some equipment to show you the process that it hasn't changed. So the qualification is the only one that's changed on here. Everything else is exactly the same. So I'm just going to scan a couple. There we go. So we've got some collections are done exactly the same as well too. Create your collection and then add in your people for your collection. All right, now that we've got some people in here, I do want to talk about two-way syncing. So once you have your resources checked in and the events are joined together within Salamander Live, you can now start to begin to use the two-way sync option. Now with the two-way sync option, or two-way sync functionality, what it does is it allows you to check in from one rapid take station and out from a different rapid take station. Oh, I can hear someone in the background. Can you make sure you are muted?
I had just pulled this out, actually. I was going to come find you after a bit.
Hello?
There you go. So now whenever you come down to the floor, if you need to check in for anything on Salamander, we can scan that.
All right. I'm just going to mute everybody on here because I hear someone. I muted you. If you want to ask a question, you can just unmute yourself on here. I apologize on that, but I just wanted to make sure that we removed any background noises. All right, so let me just go back on here to show you guys this. So two-way syncing, here's what two-way syncing does. It allows you to check in from one rapid take station and out from a different station. It allows you to obtain a reprint from any rapid take station joined to the event. So if you printed a tag from station 1, you can go back to station 2 and let's say you lost your tag, you can go to rapid take station 2 and they can print you a tag as well. One thing that's really neat about this as well is that, you know how in the track app where you can manually add in a person to an event from the track app? Well, the great thing is with two-way sync, you can now print that person a tag too from rapid tag. Their name is going to appear in here and you're going to be able to print them a tag, even though they were added in through the track app. So that's a great thing about the two-way sync functionality. Another thing that it does is it allows RapidTag to show the par count for the entire event versus just the data within RapidTag. So all your RapidTag stations, all your solutions, if you've got multiple RapidTag stations, you've got track and you're adding people in from all those different solutions, your par count up here is going to show for the entire event. And then we talked about this, but organization values entered and assigned to resources from one RapidTag or from one solution will be available on other stations. Let's go ahead and start working on looking at the two-way sync option. So I'm going to pull up my track app. I'll show you how this works. Let me move this over so you guys can see. So I'm going to go into my track app, and you'll see here it automatically pulled up training day 1. So this is exactly the event that we're in right now. Training day 1, there's 4 personnel, 2 pieces of equipment. We started this at 10:31 a.m. and it's been for 12 minutes. From the track app, all you need to do is tap join. Now, if you created a new incident within the track app and these 2 need to be joined, you'll need to go into Salamander Live and you'll need to sync them together. Move this over. So under events, training day 1, if you have one from the track app, you can join them together. Process is exactly the same. There's no changes on here. So again, to kind of review the joining or merging of events business rules, whatever you select is going to be, especially when it comes to RapidTag and the track app, whatever you select as the first event will become the parent event. So let's say I selected training day 1 and I want to join this with Racine County training day 1. What's going to happen is training day 1 is going to become the parent. So RapidTag is going to become the parent. The only difference with this is with command. Of course, if you have command, it doesn't matter what you select first. Command will always be the parent. So on here, we'll go ahead and click on training day 1. So you can see the chart and everything, the data. So there it is, training day 1, weather, your chart, and everything. So from the track app, I'm going to tap join. And I'm going to add in some individuals in here. So I'm just going to go in and manually add in some individuals, as well as some assignments. I'm going to add in some assignments first. Let's go ahead and add in some assignments. I'm just going to manually select a whole bunch of them. So I've added all these different assignments. If I sync over here, let's just click on Donald Brown. In Donald Brown's, now if you go under the assignment tab, you're going to see all those different assignments that I just added within the Track app. And now I can move Donald Brown to any one of these assignments from the Rapid Tag. So let's say I want to move him to Division A. Move him and then tap Finish. Now he's been moved to Division A. Refresh my, oh, let me sync first because I set it for 1 minute. And there he is. Donald Brown is now in Division A. Same thing if I add individuals on here. Let's say I add some people to staging. I sync. Now you've got 4 individual people in staging. So this is going to be available on every single linked or merged or joined Rapid Take station, as well as linked Track apps as well. And you'll also be able to see all this information within Salamander Live. And if you've got it joined to a command, you'll also be able to see all this information within command. Questions? Questions on the syncing process?
Hey, Leah.
Yes.
This is Kevin from Wisconsin Emergency Management. If I'm working with a county that also has a Rapid Tag and they haven't upgraded yet, will the sync still work, or do all Rapid Tags need to be upgraded?
All Rapid Tags have to be upgraded in order to use the two-way sync between those computers.
Okay.
Because the two-way sync is only available on the newest version, version 5. Not saying that they can't use, they still can't use version 4. They can still use version 4. You can still join the events within Salamander Live, so they can go in here and still join the events, but none of this information is going to sync over to them. They're still going to be only able to work comms in.
Okay.
So they're only going to be able to send information. No information is to be sent back to them because they don't have that sync function. But that's a great question. Any other questions? Anything else that you'd like to see on here? Nothing? No questions? All right. Now, I do want to note that version 5, yes, it's available today. However, if your organization chooses not to upgrade, you do not have to upgrade. It is an option for your organization to do so. I mean, we would love for you to upgrade and to be able to utilize this two-way sync functionality, because we think it's a great benefit for your organization to be able to view all the information and data from all of your connected solutions. That's going to give you a real common operating picture for your event, being able to sync all of your solutions together into one picture. So again, it's not required, but it is an option. But it's a great option if you do so. Now for training materials, all the training materials, we've got a Rapid Tag user guide that's been updated, and we've got some training videos that will kind of walk through everything we just talked about today. In regards to showing how two-way sync works, what I'll have posted is just a live recording of how two-way sync works, and that will also be available within Salamander University. Now that's not going to be available today, but it will be available to you by Thursday once we do the secondary webinar on this. You can go back and review those training materials as well as the videos. We also have a quick start guide that's going to be available for this version of Rapid Tag. So basically what it does is just quick steps on how to utilize Rapid Tag. So just the login, setting up your syncing servers, everything else is going to be the same as version 4. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew that those training materials are going to be there, and they'll be there on April 4th, this Thursday. Any final questions, feedback, or anything before we end the call? All right, nothing? All right, well, thank you everybody for being on the call today, for joining us and walking through Rapid Tag version 5 with me. If you want to come back Thursday, you definitely can. We're going to go through this exact same presentation. We'll go through all the materials one more time. If you want to see TwoWay Sync in action, just join us again. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time. Other than that, thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk with you guys soon.